What's the one single joke that demolished your friendship? My friend Tyler loved making fun of my anxiety attacks. We'd been friends since 7th grade, but somewhere along the way, my panic disorder became his favorite comedy material. Whenever I'd start hyperventilating in public, he'd dramatically gasp for air and say, "Oh no, Chris is broken again." Everyone would laugh while I struggled to breathe, my chest tight and vision blurring like I was drowning. He'd introduce me to girls at parties by saying, "This is Chris, he malfunctions under pressure, don't get too close or he might have downtime." I'd stand there, face burning with embarrassment, while they'd giggle and avoid eye contact. Some would literally back away. I stayed friends with him because I thought that's what I deserved. The worst part was how he'd escalated over the years. If I had an attack during a movie, he'd pause it and announce to everyone, "Chris needs a system reboot." If I panicked before a test, he'd tell classmates, "Chris.exe has stopped working." At restaurants, he'd tell waiters I was buffering when I couldn't order. It got so bad that people started calling me "Error Message Chris" behind my back. Even strangers knew about my condition because Tyler made it his signature joke. Last month, Tyler got accepted to Columbia Law School, his absolute dream school, the one he'd been working toward obsessively since freshman year, pulling all-nighters and sacrificing everything for his LSAT score. He threw this huge celebration party at his parents' massive house and invited everyone from our friend group, plus extended family, neighbors, and most importantly, the girl he'd been trying to impress for months, Jessica. Jessica was gorgeous, brilliant, and completely out of his league. She was getting her PhD in clinical psychology and had always been genuinely kind to me about my anxiety, even offering helpful breathing techniques. Tyler had been planning to ask her out after the party, convinced that his law school acceptance would finally make him impressive enough to win her over. During his speech, Tyler started getting emotional, talking about his dead grandfather, who had wanted him to be a lawyer, but passed away during Tyler's sophomore year. His voice began shaking as he described visiting his grandfather's grave that morning to tell him the news. I could see the signs immediately, the trembling hands, the rapid breathing, the way his eyes darted around the packed room. A panic attack was building, and I recognized every symptom. That's when I stood up from the back of the crowded room. I started dramatically gasping for air, pointing at him with wide, mocking eyes. "Oh no, Tyler's broken again," I announced loudly to the stunned crowd of 40 people. "He malfunctions under pressure. Tyler.exe has stopped working. Don't get too close or he might crash." The room went completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. 40 people stared as Tyler's face went from red to ghostly white. Jessica looked absolutely disgusted, physically recoiling and shaking her head in disbelief. Tyler's mom covered her mouth in horror. His little sister started crying because she'd never seen her big brother fall apart like that in front of everyone. Tyler ran to the bathroom, hyperventilating and sobbing. I could hear him through the door, gasping for air just like I had so many times while he laughed. 20 minutes later, he cornered me in the kitchen, tears still streaming down his face. His hands were shaking. "You humiliated me in front of everyone," he whispered. "In front of Jessica, in front of my family. How could you do that to me?" I looked him dead in the eye, feeling calmer than I had in years. Weird how it's only funny when you do it, right? Jessica never spoke to him again. She actually came up to me later and said what I did was justified, that she'd lost all respect for Tyler after learning how he treated me. His family was asking questions about why I'd said those things, and he had to explain years of him bullying me, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe.